And in this situation, it took a while because there were so many people involved. But really, what I do in my process of forgiveness, and in the book, The Common Denominator is Unforgiveness, the pioneers, 3 of the doctors that started studying this about 30 years ago, they have processes of forgiveness too, which are very similar. But in mine, basically, what I do is once you get to that point that you forget, that you're ready to forgive them, then I actually write down 3 positive characteristics about that person.
All right, and on that note, on that positive note, we're going to have to conclude. We're out of time. Melinda, we definitely will have you back on. Thank you for being with us. Thanks to all of our great viewers on Real America's Voice. Folks, have a great weekend. We look forward to being back with you on Monday. Hey, more coming your way on the radio on WGSO right here on Ringside Politics.
Wake up every morning with just the news. All the news and none of the noise.
Hey there, good morning and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield. We made it to Friday. Y'all made it, and I hope that you have some rest lined up for this weekend. Speaking of rest, we know it's important for your health. And speaking of health, there are a lot of people in the health industry who are worried that people are too focused on COVID. They are neglecting their health in other areas. This includes the U.S. Surgeon General, who we had on this program yesterday, and he said this very thing. I want to bring in also former Congresswoman Nan Hayworth. She's a physician, and she has thoughts on this as well. Good morning, Nan.
Good morning, Carrie.
So what's your read on this? Because we had the Surgeon General on yesterday. We have headline after headline. There was a headline coming out of the UK where there have been millions of screenings for breast cancer that have not happened because of people being so focused on the coronavirus.
Absolutely. Carrie, about 2 months ago now, the CDC actually published a study that they did. At that point, COVID deaths ran to about 200,000 across the country over the course of the pandemic. And there were an additional 100,000 deaths that they attributed to the effects of lockdowns, to deferred care, to deaths of despair, which is also, of course, another significant public health problem. But yes, all of the maladies that ordinarily plague humanity, with the exception of infectious diseases, actually, some of those have declined significantly, which is heartening because people, even just using better hand hygiene and surface disinfection helps a lot. But particularly concerning, of course, are indeed the deferred evaluations for cancers. That's a diagnosis that you don't want to defer or miss. And indeed, during the spring, there were cancer specialists, I believe it was at Mayo Clinic, who said that the number of deaths over the course of the years to come could unfortunately run into well over the number of deaths that have occurred attributable to COVID. This is a very serious situation.
So earlier this year, the White House put out a chart looking at the death rate of the coronavirus. I tweeted it out, and I noted that we're seeing the death rate decline because people know how to treat COVID better. So the hospitals are being able to basically treat this disease because we know so much more about it. And so these concerns about the overcrowding, which early on, that was a big part of why hospitals were turning away people or saying, please don't come in because we are so concerned about the coronavirus and we're so concerned about capacity issues. Are we seeing this concern again because we're seeing a rise in coronavirus cases?
We are. California, for example, has gone on virtual lockdown once more in a lot of the state because they are specifically, they say, concerned about ICU capacity. However, when you look at the figures for that state, the ICU demand has actually declined steadily since the spring, since April, basically, and is now at about maybe a third of what it was when the pandemic was at its peak. And you are right, Carrie, we have the means at our hands, at our disposal for physicians to administer therapies, including, and it's being underutilized by the sound of it, the antibody cocktail that was so beneficial for President Trump, the Regeneron CoV-2 antibody combination, and another one from Lilly that can be used on an outpatient basis. So there are all kinds of ways in which we can save lives that we didn't have when this pandemic first started. And so that should encourage us all. And it's another evidence, Carrie, that we cannot run our healthcare system, let alone our economy, on one variable, and that variable being COVID. But there is so much fear, including among public health establishments in various states, not the state of Florida, which seems to have handled everything just fine, and they are open. They don't have any mask mandates. They have recommendations. But this fear runs very deep, and it is going to have profound consequences in the months and years to come.
So we saw this morning, it was televised. Vice President Pence and the Surgeon General got their shots this morning for the vaccine for the coronavirus. Do you think, because we have this vaccine and it looks like we're going to have a second vaccine from Moderna, do you think that this pandemic is really, the light is here at the end of the tunnel?
Yes, I do, Carrie, and it should be, the light should already be shining, just as we talked about, pretty brightly already. The survival rate for COVID is well over 99%. We know whom we need to protect especially carefully, and we know how to follow carefully the folks who do get sick and may have a more severe case of it. So with a vaccine having arrived, and I know that Operation Warp Speed has facilitated the prompt manufacture and delivery of millions and millions of doses, and that's just going to ramp up. We should all feel very hopeful, and we should open up the economy now.
And in terms of your patients, so you are an eye doctor. I actually don't know if you're currently practicing, but you're an eye doctor, which is, you don't currently practice. So you're an eye doctor, which is not coronavirus specific, not epidemiologist specific, but the eye, infections with the eye can lead to lots of other problems that is the same thing with other body parts. If someone's neglecting because they're scared. I spoke with a doctor who said that a lot of people won't get care, they won't go to a hospital because they're scared of getting the coronavirus. They're living in fear. Do you think that there is a sense that people are too irrationally afraid of getting infected? Well,
it is irrational, Carrie, but if I may say, it's most people rely on what they hear from the experts, if you will, and so many of the experts have been very, very discouraging, including a commentator on MSNBC who about a week ago, I think, said, well, even if you get the vaccine, you should still not travel and not live your life as though you're probably immune, even after 2 doses of the vaccine, which should give you immunity. It's sort of like you can't do that until 75% of the population is immune or thereabouts for herd immunity. That just doesn't make sense. People do need to go. I was just at my dentist a couple of days ago, and he said people aren't coming for dental care. That's crazy. People are going to have all kinds of problems.
Dr. Hayworth, we're going to leave it right there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carrie.
More headlines coming right up with Joe Weber, our web editor. Stay tuned.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand, and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion, featuring breaking news and expert commentary to get you through your day. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here on Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome back here to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you're here with us. Let's take down the next headlines that are breaking on our website with Joe Weber. He's our news editor. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. So let's first talk about Georgia. What's happening in Georgia? So we know that there is a move there to push for signature matching, and it looks like the state officials are coming on board.
Yeah, the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, he said yesterday that they were going to run an audit of the signatures on the ballots to see if they match with the absentee ballots in all 159 counties. And they had done this before in Cobb County, but this is going to be a sort of a definitive effort, and it's going to be in conjunction with the University of Georgia. Now, Georgia has recertified their votes, I think 3 times now, but they've never really done a definitive matching on the absentee ballot signature. So a lot of people are interested in this. It seems to be somewhat after the fact, but nevertheless, the findings will be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk a little bit about the stimulus negotiations. Where do things stand on stimulus?
Congress has a couple big days ahead of it. Mitch McConnell said yesterday, signaled that they were likely going to work over the weekend, or highly likely that they will. They have 2 things coming up. They have to pass an emergency funding bill to keep the government running after today. Last week they passed a 1 week, couldn't get anything done. They'll likely pass another one today. I would expect it to just kind of be the same. But meanwhile, they have this stimulus package, and I covered Congress for a long time, as I know you did too. I don't think I've ever recalled negotiations this long over something like this. If you remember, the House passed theirs, Democrat-controlled House, in May, and they're still negotiating on this. $900 million as it is now. Maybe individuals will get about $600 in a stimulus check, $1,400 for families. They're still divided over the state and local funding. Democrats want that, but there's a new wrinkle in it. Republicans are interested in putting a sort of control on the Federal Reserve on their lending. This is a new aspect to it that I have not really heard before. So I'm not really sure where that's going, but I think that we're going to see a lot, and even McConnell suggested this type of gridlock going forward for a long time.
So you said $600 in everyone's stocking for the holidays. but this is money that's going to have to be paid back in the future at some point. And Heritage Foundation put out a report saying this stimulus bill, from their perspective, actually doesn't do enough to actually fight the COVID, but it does a lot of other things that are really just too expensive.
It does. I agree with that. Now, one thing is that unemployment benefits run out December 26th, so they're really under a real deadline here. But most people, I think the general consensus is it doesn't do enough. But the negotiations with it, I think at this point, people would be happy to just get something in people's pockets at this point and try to go to a next round.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the FBI and new text messages from your favorite, Peter Strzok. So we have a headline on our website on Just the News looking at Peter Strzok and new text messages that show that Strzok might have known that the allegations in the FISA warrant were false.
Yeah, just on a quick aside, when John did the reporting and talked to me earlier yesterday about it, he said he had some explosive new emails from Peter Strzok. I was first thing I said to him, what more could there be? Because there's been a lot of information and emails that have been out for him. But this is basically saying that they knew before they investigated Carter Page or went for the FISA warrant. That's a secret court that allows them to put surveillance on an American, that he had not talked to a Russian agent. And this was through a operative working for the FBI who had talked to Strzok, who was an FBI agent who was in charge of the investigation into Russia collusion, and they went ahead and got it anyway. So that's a really interesting and largely damning piece of information if it's, turns out to be the way that the emails are being interpreted. Nevertheless, in one other instance where they appear to have known that there wasn't any collusion there and continue to go forward with the investigation.
So if we do get Joe Biden sworn in January 20th, do you think there are going to be any ramifications of this?
I think nevertheless the Senate, which I think there's a pretty good possibility that the Senate will still be controlled by Republicans, and the Republican Senate will continue to do investigations on this. I don't think this is over now. Ron Johnson's committee chairmanship over there in Senate House Homeland Security is over. But I wouldn't be very surprised if whoever took it over next does not continue these investigations.
All right, let's turn to another topic about the cyber hack that we saw this week. So we have another agency. It's just the dominoes keep falling of government agencies that are reporting that they were hacked. The report here, the government has not confirmed it, but there are reports that this was the Russians who did it. And there are just lots of people within the cybersecurity industry who are concerned that this is a grave threat. What else do we know about this?
We do know that it's actually, once they got to the bottom of it, they found out that it had been going on for years. And the fact that it just keeps on spreading to other countries, other parts of the federal government, at least the intelligence officials say that they don't appear to have been hacked any classified information as we know now. But this is a fluid situation. It keeps on evolving. It's a grave concern. What was interesting yesterday that Vladimir Putin held his annual sort of tantamount to a State of the State address or State of the Union, and talked a little bit about the allegations that they had poisoned a Russian dissident, but nevertheless he didn't address to this issue whatsoever, that Russia has been fingered in this widespread hack.
All right, let's turn to domestic, away from Russia, to Alabama, sweet home Alabama. We saw the president this morning, tweeting out about the Senator-elect Tuberville, and he has said that he might be joining with Congressman Mo Brooks on the House side to challenge the Electoral College. How likely, first of all, do you think it will be that the Senator-elect will sign on to this, and do you think they'll be successful?
I'm not a betting man, but nevertheless, I think that the answer to the first question is I think he will. Alabama lawmaker, after covering Congress for such a long time, everybody knows that when Jeff Sessions was the Alabama senator, he worked closely with Mo Brooks. I can't see why Tommy Tuberville, once he gets to Congress, wouldn't. They're very close. The Republican sort of Alabama caucus there. As you know, President Trump, huge Tuberville supporter in that race. He did very well there, but certainly the support from President Trump got him over the top. It's essentially cruise to victory. To the second part of the question, how effective this will be, most people say that it won't, that Congress can't try to get a new set or challenge the Electoral College results, but that remains to be seen. We'll see. I really do feel confident that at least Mo Brooks will try, and likely Tuberville will join him.
Well, and I think it's important to note that the Democrats did these exact same thing, or they tried to, at least on the House side. They weren't able to get somebody on the Senate. They did this in 2001, they did it in 2005, and they did it in 2017. So why do you think it is that we're seeing any Democrat, when they say this about Mo Brooks or possibly hear Senator-elect Tuberville, that he is eroding democracy? Why do you think this is happening?
Well, the old Washington maxim, right? I think it goes something like, I was for it until I was against it. When it serves your purpose, you're for it. But when the opposition party does it, it's a bad thing.
All right.
In Washington.
Joe Weber, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Stay with us, folks. We've got more about big tech. This is a big issue we follow here at Just the News. There's a new allegation of censorship of a conservative group. Rick Manning is joining me next.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion, featuring breaking news and expert commentary to get you through your day. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand.
Good morning and welcome back here to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield and glad you're with us. Well, big tech is an issue that we follow very closely here at Just the News, and questions of bias. And joining me is Rick Manning. He's president of Americans for Limited Government. He has a bone to pick with Facebook. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning. How are you, Carrie?
Doing well. So I want to put this on screen. Your organization, Americans for Limited Government, put out this advertisement, and you can see it's about Christmas. Let me just read it here real quick. It says, "Spread some Christmas cheer. Please wish the first family a very Merry Christmas. As we reflect on 2020, we are grateful for President Trump's phenomenal leadership of our nation, which brought peace to places that never dreamed it possible, and hope to Americans who have been left behind. Let them know how you feel." So this seems to be a pretty innocuous Christmas message. However, Facebook thinks that it is partisan. And so you guys tried to put some money behind this to boost it, as they say, and you got this block. You got this block from Facebook. It says the ad can't run, temporary restriction on ads about social issues, elections or politics. And so you were not allowed to put out a message about Christmas. So the big question is, do you think that this algorithm, did you guys try to repeal this or appeal it and you were rejected? Because this seems to be pretty generic about Christmas.
Yeah, the appeal's still pending. Carrie, one of the things about Facebook most people don't realize is while I've got about 130,000 followers for Americans for Limited Government on Facebook, took a lot of hard work and money to develop that. The fact is you have to pay money to reach your own followers because they basically block you from about everybody but about a tenth of them. And so you have to constantly be putting money into Facebook in order to be able to talk to people who you actually already said they want to talk to you, which is one of the ironies. So I tried to put money into Facebook to say, I want to send a Christmas message to President Trump. I want people to do that. I think it's important at this time, with all the stuff going on, to remind him that the people of America want to wish him a Merry Christmas and hold him in high regard. And so we did that. We tried to put that out, and they would not allow us to put money behind it, which was beyond stunning. And but it's their platform, and if they think that a Christmas message is political, well, I don't know how to tell them it isn't, but that's their decision. The problem is Facebook isn't a reliable platform anymore, and it can't be depended upon.
So here's the other question, because this is now weeks after the election, because the rationale for Facebook about why they've been banning advertisements that are, quote, politically related are because they're saying they didn't want misinformation. They didn't want Russians or Ukrainians or Bulgarians or whomever putting misinformation out there and putting money behind it and boosting it. You're an American organization, and it's weeks after the election. Why do you think this is still on?
I think because they are essentially going to ban anything that deals with President Trump between now and January 20th. They don't want information out about different alternatives in terms of pathways to him still being president. So they are basically negating almost anything that you might put out. Or you can put it on their platform, you just can't boost it, which means effectively nobody sees it. I'll give you a contrast on that. On Parler, where we've gone from 3,000 to 53,000 followers in about a month. We put the same thing up, and just without putting any money in, over 30,000 people have seen it, and many of those have taken action. So the difference between Facebook and Parler, as just an example, is that when you put something up on Parler, the people who actually want to see your stuff get to see it. And that is a massive difference. And in terms of a conservative organization, I don't think I can afford to put any more money into Facebook because they won't deliver my material. And Parler's where I'm going, because the fact of the matter is, if I can talk to people there, I can spread message there. And if I can't send a Christmas greeting on Facebook, I can't send anything.
So it sounds like you're going to be spending more time and possibly money in Parler. So here's the big question, because we're an outlet here that presents stories that you can't see in other media outlets, the mainstream media. We see over and over the ratio of Democrats and liberals in the quote-unquote mainstream media compared to the rest of America. There's a huge mismatch. The mainstream quote-unquote media is very much more liberal than the actual average American. And so the big question is, if Parler and some of these additional technology platforms are growing in more popularity among conservatives because places like Facebook or Twitter are perceived to be biased against conservatives, do you think our country is going to become more siloed or more divided? And do you think Facebook is actually going to have the reverse intended effect here, because their goal is to have more people who are getting accurate information, but if people like you are going to be forced to go to other platforms, are we going to see more of a divide in the country?
Yeah, I think that's the inevitable case. So unfortunately, I'll still keep Facebook. I'll still put stuff up on there, but because there will be people following. But the truth of the matter is, people want to get different information. They want to get diverse information. They want to have a chance to discern what the truth is, as opposed to have it jammed down their throat. And so people are seeking out alternative forms of media, and we've seen that through the rise of Newsmax and you guys, America's Voice, and we've seen it through the rise of a whole number of conservative outlets on the web. And as a result, what we're going to see are conservatives are going to go to Parler and places like that because, quite honestly, they're sick of being censored. They're sick of not being able to tell the truth. They're sick of being told they're racist, and they're sick of having their pages being shadow banned. So when you get down to it, using Twitter doesn't make sense. Using Facebook as a political vehicle doesn't make sense. So alternatives arise. That's the market. That's the way it's going to work. And while Facebook faces many antitrust problems, and I hope they do very poorly in those cases, there is, in fact, alternatives that are arising. They're not technologically as good, but they are, in fact, alternatives that I think will develop their own audiences, and Facebook will be the lesser for it, will lose money as a result, and Mark Zuckerberg won't be able to spend as much money to influence elections in the future.
Well, that's the big question. We're going to be talking in our next segment about the outside money from places like Facebook that were spent to influence the election. But when it comes to these tech platforms, the president has over and over said the Section 230, as they call it, protections that the tech platform, they say that they are just a neutral, agnostic platform, that they don't have any editorial control or editorial decisions. Therefore, they should be shielded by Section 230. I had here on the couch with me Grover Norquist from Americans for Tax Reform. He said that the president doesn't need to wait for Congress to act or do anything about this. He says he thinks these tech companies are already in violation of this and that action should already be taken. Do you agree with that?
I think they are in violation of it, but there is one clause which gives them an out. But apart from that, I think they are in violation, certainly of the intent. What Section 230 actually does is it exempts Facebook and Google and others from having to pay licensing fees that a regular newspaper would have to pay for things like images. When a photographer takes an image, he expects to get paid. He or she expects to get paid. If I put an image up on Facebook that a photographer took, Facebook isn't liable for that payment, neither am I. That's what the liability shield is for Facebook. And so if they lose the Section 230 exemptions, what effectively happens is every time I put a picture up, if Facebook has a responsibility to take it down if it's somebody else's property. And if they don't, they have to pay a lot of money to the person who actually produced it. So it's a liability shield for intellectual property. And what that means is if they lose their 230 protection, it will cost them tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars.
All right, Rick Manning, president of Americans for Limited Government. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Stay with us, folks. We have Eric Kardal coming up next. I'm sure you've seen the Amistad Project. They've been all over at the forefront of challenging the election and saying that there are all sorts of problems with election integrity. Eric is going to join me. Stay here.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion, featuring breaking news and expert commentary to get you through your day. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome back to Just the News AM, and happy Friday. So let's move here to what's happening in Wisconsin. Here at Just the News, we've been reporting about outside money that's been used to influence the elections, and there are a lot of questions that are being raised about whether this is unconstitutional, because it seemed that it was favoring certain zip codes and unfavoring other zip codes. So the organization, the Amistad Project, has been at the forefront of asking these types of questions. Eric Cardall is an attorney with this group, and he joins me this morning. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
So what's
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, what are the biggest takeaways that you have been seeing in Wisconsin, but not only Wisconsin, but other states also, that people should know about when it comes to this outside money?
Yeah, the states that we focused on are Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Arizona. And the $350 is Zuckerberg money to urban election officials, plus the evisceration of absentee ballot security measures, has led to an election official error rate that far exceeds the margin of victory in those states. And so it really begs the question, who gets to decide when the election official irregularities and improprieties exceed the razor-thin margin?
So when it comes to getting outside money, you guys have brought challenges, and other folks have as well, to say this is unconstitutional, but this has been brought before courts. They've rejected that argument.
That's right. And so we have to start reading Article 2 very closely of the U.S. Constitution. There's a sentence in there that's saying that basically it's an imperative sentence saying that the state legislatures get to decide. So they have to do their post-election certification for the presidential elector votes to count. So we have to make our argument to the state legislatures now. Sure,
but as far as the timeline here, you all are seeking relief. You're seeking to have these results overturned. Your time window, the Electoral has already met, and they already voted for Joe Biden.
Right, but the problem for the electors is that they haven't been certified by the state legislatures, so their votes don't count on January 6th.
So when it comes to Congress, Congressman Mo Brooks, and now we see that a possible Senator Tuberville from Alabama, they say they are willing to possibly challenge the Electoral College. Do you think there will be an alternative slate of electors?
Yeah, I think that our action in U.S. District Court of the District of Columbia we're filing on Monday will enjoin the Vice President and Congress from counting votes from presidential electors who have not been certified by the state legislature.
So I want to move to the topic of Dominion, because we've been reporting here at Just the News about, and it's on our website this morning, a warning that Dominion warned that their memory cards might need to be prematurely removed from the voting machine. So basically, due to voting counting limits, at least 36 memory cards in voter tabulators had to be prematurely removed, raising new concerns about chain of custody and belatedly discovered memory cards. What have you guys seen on Dominion?
Yeah, all of that is very disconcerting. Experts have told us that the Dominion machines had an error rate that was far in excess what we'd accept prior to the election. And so that issue, the Zuckerberg money, all the evisceration of the absentee ballot security measures by local and state election officials leads to errors exceeding the vote margins in those 5 states. So the state legislatures have to decide. The arguments have to be made to the state legislatures. We have to win the lawsuit to stop presidential elector votes from presidential electors who have not been state legislative certified. And that's why this election dispute will go on right through Inauguration Day.
And in terms of the White House, so there is a separation between official action and a private action by an individual, but there is a senior White House official, Peter Navarro, who yesterday released what he's calling the immaculate deception, and we covered it here at Just the News. Looking at this report, he says that there is just a pattern across 6 battleground states that suggest a coordinated strategy, if not to steal the election outright, strategically game the election process in such a way as to, quote, stuff the ballot box and unfairly tilt the playing field in favor of the Biden-Harris ticket. Have you spoken with Peter Navarro at all, or have you looked at this report?
No, I've looked at the report. He's correct, but all the experts are testifying in the same direction, and that is that the election officials' irregularities and improprieties in these states exceeded the razor-thin margins. So the question then is who gets to decide? And there's a sentence in the U.S. Constitution, Article 2, that says the state legislatures get to decide. And none of these presidential electors that were elected on December 14th or appointed are certified by state legislatures, so their votes don't count.
So when it comes to, you said the fight's going to go all the way through Inauguration Day. What if we find out months or maybe even years later just the real extent of these problems, but Biden's already in?
It's a beautiful thing. The state legislatures, there are representatives. So your vote and my vote, when we vote for president, goes to the state legislature. Then the state legislature certifies the presidential votes and then certifies the appointment of the presidential electors. So your last chance of arguing about this is when the state legislature votes, but they haven't voted yet, so we're still arguing.
So what do you think is the path forward for people who say this should change?
Support the lawsuit we're filing in the U.S. District Court of District of Columbia, because there's a sentence in the U.S. Constitution that says that state legislatures have to vote to certify the presidential electors. And the federal laws and the state laws have been enacted to take away that power from the state legislatures, and that's constitutionally wrong. So stay tuned. That lawsuit's important. Also, the D.C. Code allows for the U.S. District Court of District of Columbia to oust unlawfully elected officials, including the president. So even then, the presidential candidates have an option after Inauguration Day to continue.
All right, Eric Cardall, we will stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay tuned here, you all, for Counsel Ned. He is a constable who wants to build a bond between teenagers and cops. How about that? Just in time for the holidays. Stay with us.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion, featuring breaking news and expert commentary to get you through your day. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand.
Good morning and welcome back here to Just the News AM. I am Carrie Sheffield and glad that it's Friday. And this Friday, I want to talk about something very important that is happening this weekend, and it's Counsel Ned. He is a constable in Pennsylvania, and he's building ties between teenagers, local youth, and police. Good morning, Counsel.
Good morning, Carrie.
So tell us about this. You put out a statement on Twitter about it, you're promoting it, and you're there in Pennsylvania. Walk us through it.
Well, yeah, so most people don't know this, but, constables are elected officials in the states that still have constables. Most constables are. And it makes us the law enforcement arm most directly accountable to the people. And so I recently begun this initiative called #ConstablesCare. And the idea is to have people, constables, law enforcement, out actively engaging in the community and trying to create and restore the integrity of the relationship between law enforcement and the public. So, I've done several things. Like, for instance, I mentor students, members of Sigma Phi Upsilon fraternity at Penn State. I started a program called Operation Are You OK, which sort of looks out for seniors that live alone. But then what we're here to talk about this morning is my Christmas with the Constable program, and that's part of this initiative. But again, positive relationships and interactions between law enforcement and youth are critical for a safe society, not just now, but for the future of this country. And so as part of that, I've got a bunch of kids, and we are going to go Christmas shopping on Saturday morning. All of that stuff's important, restoring relationships, but really what I want to do is just sort of spread some good cheer in this particularly challenging year that we've all had.
Well, I love to hear what you're saying, and spreading Christmas cheer is so important. And I have to say, my brother's a former cop. To see the way that some people are describing cops and saying that they are horrible, they're pigs, that they don't care. These people, including yourself, you are putting your very life on the line for these very people who are insulting you. How do you process that?
Well, most people don't go into public service or law enforcement or even the fire service to do ill. Most people who get involved in public service do it because they want to help people. They want to be there for their communities. They want to do some good in this world. And I think a lot of that got lost, especially, again, over this particular year. People were taxed this country was taxed in a way that we've never been sort of tested or tried before, and so it sort of built to this perfect storm. But the fact is, there are a lot of people who put on their uniforms every day to go out and serve the community, and I want to do my part to remind people that law enforcement are here to help.
Sure. And I want to put a headline up that I recently looked at. The fact that crime has been spiking, violent crime, including homicide. However, you still have folks who are saying they want to defund the police. In Minneapolis, Seattle, and New York City, they've all recently cut funding away from policing, even as violent crime is rising. Why is this happening?
Well, for a variety of reasons, because a lot of police are just demoralized across this country. Police officers in most of the major cities are demoralized. The job's not what they signed up for. And if anything and everything that you do is going to be shown on social media and judged, and everything's going to be second-guessed and armchair quarterback, why go the extra effort to and be proactive and go out and do things that you used to do before, and you're like, this might get me in trouble, so it's easier to not do it. And it's horrible that we're living in this environment. But, people are talking about defunding the police. Just recently, and maybe in the last week or so, somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, one of the states that defunded their police had a social worker killed who was going out doing something that a police normally would have done under those circumstances. It's getting out of control. But the fact is, there are a lot of good officers out there who just want to serve the community and do their part. I want to do my part. I want to serve my community, and I want to let people know that I care, constables care, law enforcement care, and we're all out here doing the same job, and we're just trying to help our community.
So you're going to go out Christmas shopping with these kids. You've been a constable. Yes. You've been in law enforcement for quite some time. Have you noticed a shift and a change in how people perceive you when you walk around with your badge? Do you think people are treating you differently now?
Oh, absolutely. I tend to be friendly to everybody that I meet. But yes, I get all sorts of dirty looks all the time when I'm walking around in uniform, when I'm driving in my car. I get all sorts of dirty looks from people. But then, if somebody does happen to say something to me, I try to engage them in conversation, be positive, let them know that I'm not actually your enemy. I'm actually here to help and serve the community and try to do my part to make society better.
So when it comes to helping youth and helping people who are troubled, what do you think is the way forward to make sure that these kids who maybe they feel alienated, maybe they feel suspicious of you, what's the path forward?
Well, I think the path forward is, and I think I've talked about it on your show before, but I think the path forward is actually going out and engaging with young people, having conversations with them. People talk about community policing, but people don't really know what community policing is. And a lot of police departments have sort of strayed away from community policing, but actually going out, talking to people, actually getting to know them. And that's what I do. I go out, I talk to kids. I know kids. I used to run a patrol on the Fraternity Row at Penn State, and I got to know the kids, and they got to know me, and we got to form relationships and bonds. And it was an opportunity to actually sort of mentor and keep kids from making bad decisions that might ruin their college careers or potentially ruin their lives. But you have to go out. You have to talk to people. You need to be engaging. You need to be friendly. And I think that's the key. It's no rocket science. It's just actually going out and talking to people.
All right, Councilor Neb, we appreciate it, and we hope that any of our viewers there in the area, in the Ferguson area of Pennsylvania, will come out and support you tomorrow morning and help these children who maybe they need to be educated and actually maybe hug a cop. So good luck tomorrow.
If you like me and you think I'm likable, follow us tomorrow live, Facebook, Constable Council.
All right, we got to run. We'll be right back.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you're here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here, Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
Hey, I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I am thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform for your news and your voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
Real America's Voice News is the perfect news companion, featuring breaking news and expert commentary to get you through your day. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here on Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I am thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome back here to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield. Happy Friday. Well, tomorrow is Saturday, and if you are in Florida, the Palm Beach area, or even if you're not, you might want to head down there. The state is not shut down, and in fact, they're going to be having this event. Take a look.
This is the most important thing that we can do, is activate young people.
The American dream is real!
It was very empowering to see a lot of these teenagers and college students actually willing to do something.
It's incredible. It's electric.
America's voice matters. America's voice matters.
And we are going to be broadcasting live from Real America's Voice down at this conference, the SAS 2020. They're proceeding ahead of going forward, even though all over in other states, the shutdowns are trying to shut down such gatherings. But of course, they're going to be following the health guidelines and making sure this is a safe event. And so we're going to be down there. I am going to be up here holding the fort in cold, chilly, snowy DC area, while my colleagues like Parker and Harry and all the crew are going to be. But you know what? They deserve it. They deserve a nice break. I hope they make it out there to the beach. I hope you all make it down there to check out what's happening with these young people who are interested in freedom, interested in preserving this country, interested in having a dialogue and getting an alternative perspective. So that does it for us, folks. Make sure you stay tuned right here on a Real America's Voice for War Room coming up next.
Real America's Voice is a platform that fosters the real voice of America.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
It's my voice. It's your voice. It's Real America's Voice.
Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Just the News AM. I'm Carrie Sheffield, and glad you are here.
You're watching Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world.
Keep it right here on Real America's Voice.
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay up to date with Real America's Voice News.
I'm David Brody. Glad you're with us.
Download the Real America's Voice News app today at americasvoice.app. Real America's Voice News is a platform that celebrates America every day.
I'm thankful for many things, including you, our viewers who inspire me.
Don't miss 1 minute of Real America's Voice News. Real America's Voice News is opinion done right, on demand and on every platform. Stay engaged, stay informed, and stay in tune with what's happening now on Real America's Voice.
God bless America. Thank you for being here.
There's finally a platform